Hello students, we have day 4 of Module 3, and we've had an opportunity to build some fluency with writing equivalent expressions, but today, in today's lesson, we're going to start looking at equivalent expressions with rational terms. By rational terms, I mean fractions or decimals. Right? So today's lesson objective is really the same. I can write equivalent expressions with rational terms. All right, so first we have the opening exercise, and I'm going to have you go ahead and pause and work your way through the opening exercise. The only one I don't want you to do is E, because if you notice, you've done that problem quite a few times, and there doesn't seem to be any issue there. So go ahead and hit pause, and then when you're done working through the problems, you can unpause and look over the answers. So hitting pause now. Okay, and we are back, and here is A. So we have Terry weighs 40 kilograms, Janice weighs 2 3/4 kilograms less than Terry. So you would subtract 2 3/4 from 40. And remember when we do this, that we could subtract the whole numbers. So we end up with 38 minus 3/4. And when you take 38 minus 3/4, it brings you back to 37 1/4. And then what you're supposed to do is find their combined weight. So then you have to add the 37 1/4 to the 40. That's how I got 77 1/4. All right, B, you've done quite a few different times. You see that the 3/8 and the negative 3/8 are combined terms, are zero pairs. So those cancel out. So you end up with negative 4/5 plus 5/4. You get the common denominator, and this common denominator would be 16 and 25, but it's a negative 16. So you got to be careful there. So you're combining a negative 16 with a plus 25. All right. So. And then in C, you find that you have a 1/5 plus a negative 1/4. Well, what I determined is that it was negative because because I'm combining a larger negative number than a positive number. So then I just subtracted them. 4 minus 1/5 would be 3 4/5, and I just made it negative. And then in D, you just multiply across the top 12, multiply across the bottom 5, and this would be 2 2/5. Right. So the purpose of that exercise was just to get a little bit of just review how to combine, subtract, multiply with fractions. Decimals are another avenue. All right, so, oops, you don't want to see that because, all right, example number 1. So I'm going to work through example number 1, and then there's an exercise, and then there's an example number 2, and there's another exercise. So I'll do example number 1, then example number 2, and then your job will be to go back and work on the exercises. So. Example 1, rewrite the expression in standard form by collecting like terms. All right. So this would be the same as if I had, notice that I'll have n's, which means that if the answer, but I know there's an n. So what we can do is we can actually forget about the n for the moment, for the time being, and we can put together all of the numbers. So I have 2/3 minus 3/4 plus 1/6 plus, now watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take 2 2/9 and separate it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave 2 out of this for right now. All right? Because I'm going to add the 2 in a little bit later. So now I'm going to find a common denominator with 3, 4, 6, and 9. So the common denominator in this case would be 36. So I'm going to make 36s with all my denominators. Keep in mind I'm going to leave the 2 out for right now. Okay, because there's 2 holes, and I might be able to add that in at the end. It's a little bit easier. All right, so here I multiply by 12, so 2 times 12 will be 24. All right, now that's a minus, so make sure you bring the signs down here. Okay, and that's a plus in front of that. So this would be multiplied by 9, so this would be 27. Multiplied by 6, so this would be 6. Remember, I'm leaving the 2 out, so multiply this by 4, so this would be 8. So what I'm going to do is, I know my denominator is going to have a 36. So now I'm just going to combine all the numerators. So if I combine a 24, a 6, and an 8, 24 and 6 is 30. That gives me 38. I'm just jotting this information down. And then I got a minus 27. Right. So I combined all the positives. It's like playing the integer card game. Combine all the positives. Right. And then I'm going to take away the negative, the 27. And that gives me 11 over 36. All right. Now, the one thing I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put the 2 back in there. because remember I took the 2 out to begin with, so I could work with the fractions. Now I'm going to put that in there. So this is 2 and 11 36n. Right? All the fractions. Moving on to example number 2. In example number 2, we're going to write this expression in standard form by collecting like terms. Right? And I'm not worried about justifying each step. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute. Now what I'm distributing is I'm distributing this 1/3. It's a negative 1/3 actually. So the 5's still there. So 1/3 of 6 would be, this goes in here once, in here too, so it would be negative 2x, and it is negative because remember I'm distributing a negative. Alright, then I got to take 1/3, notice I'm doing this off to the side here, of 12. Now I know it's going to be, you have a negative times a negative becomes a positive. Just over 1, so 3 in here once, in there 4 times. So this becomes plus 4 minus 10.5. So I've distributed through the fraction. And what's nice is that by distributing the fraction is no longer there, so we don't have to work with it. So if I collect all my like terms, well, the only x term is this one, so it's negative 2x. Right. So then I can put the 5 plus the 4 minus the 10.5. I can put all that together. So this becomes 9 minus 10.5. So if I borrow $10.50, but I only pay you back 9, I still owe you $1.50. So this would be negative 2x minus 1.5. Okay. So what you'll do now is you'll go through and work through exercise number 1, and I'll be coming around to kind of check your work. Notice in A, it's all fractions. Also notice that they don't all have g's in them. Like for instance, put a 1 there, but you notice how this term and this term, this term, they don't have the g's, so you would combine them, and then you would combine all the g's. Alright, this one's just decimals. I think you'll be a little bit easier with that one. And then this one here is just a mix of multiplying through and collecting your like terms.